Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am not afraid to admit that I have made countless mistakes in my fragrance journey over the last year and a half. And in today's video, I'm going to highlight a couple of my main mistakes, but I'm also going to highlight and very briefly talk about 40 niche and designer fragrances that I've sold over the past 4 or 5 months, and I'll tell you why I sold them. There are 3 main mistakes that I'm going to highlight today. The first major mistake of my fragrance career, if you would call it that, is buying dupes in replace of the niche or designer fragrance that is trying to dupe. This is not a joke. In the first 6 months I was collecting, I had roughly 70 dupe fragrances. I sold a couple, but you know, dupes don't do well in the secondhand market because they're so cheap, and I'm all the way down to 2 dupes and I'm so happy. But if there's one thing you should take away from this video, is that dupes will never replace the quality and the blend of the original fragrance that they're trying to clone. Even though clone fragrances are pretty cheap, when you have 70 of them, that really adds up. So I was spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on fragrances that I thought could compare to the original, and after testing, after smelling, after really exploring niche houses, especially after smelling and owning countless bottles from the house of Amouage and the house of Zoologist, I can say that dupes are horrible. I understand dupes are doing well right now, I understand they're popular, but I can't stand people talking about them anymore. That's my honest truth. So many influencers are the same. They just keep pushing out these dupes. So many people buy them. So many people realize that they're synthetic, or they don't last long, or they just don't come close to the original. There's nothing wrong with smelling good on a budget, but when influencers are just pushing out dupes left and right and comparing them to $500 and $600 fragrances, I just can't stand that. So that was my first mistake, and it was buying dupes in replacement of niche and designer fragrances. I made a personal decision about 6 months ago that I will never ever buy a dupe fragrance ever again. Some people might look at me and think I'm stupid, because to be fair, charging $550 for a fragrance is absolutely outrageous. But with discounters and places like Mercari and eBay where you can get stuff for cheaper, there's just no reason, at least to me, to buy a bad replacement of a good fragrance. Okay, I will highlight 2 more mistakes that I made, and I'm going to save my biggest and most expensive mistake for last. But right now, I'm going to go on to the second mistake that I made. The second mistake that I made that honestly not a lot of people talk about is sampling a fragrance, but not sampling it enough. What I mean by that is if you go into a store and you spray it on your skin, you spray it on a tester strip and smell it one time throughout a day, that is really not enough to know whether you'd like it or not. I personally think that if you're sampling a fragrance, you need to buy an absolute minimum of a 2 milliliter sample and wear it over a couple days or a couple weeks and really sit with it, and then decide if you want to buy the bottle or not. I'm going to list 16 fragrances right now that I bought and then sold because I did not sample it enough and I thought I would want a whole bottle of it, before realizing that it wasn't for me after spending thousands of dollars on bottles. And obviously I sold these all, so I made some money back, but you know that the second you open a bottle, its value decreases a pretty big chunk, especially in the secondhand market. Okay, I'm going to go on a relatively fast speed run and give maybe a 4 or 5 word description for each of these. Alrighty, here we go. First is Montale's Musk to Musk. I smelled this one time in a store and I thought I really liked it. I thought it was interesting and I thought it was niche smelling. So I bought a bottle, wore it 2 times over the course of 4 months, and sold it. Next up is Maison Margiela's by the Fireplace and Jazz Club. I smelled these both about 3 separate times in malls, but I never wore it on skin. Both last like 3 hours, neither of them project, and they're just not really worth the money to me, so I sold them. The next is New Harlem by Bond No. 9. New Harlem is a coffee and vanilla balm, and it smells good up front and on paper when you're in the store, but it's so linear and it doesn't do anything for the rest of the fragrance. So after I bought it, that's when I learned that, and I realized that I didn't want to smell like straight syrup for 12 hours straight. Next up is Guerlain's Idéal Eau de Parfum, and I think it's an amazing smelling fragrance. It just does not project, it does not perform, it does not last. And if I had bought a sample or at least gone into a store and sprayed it countless times over a couple weeks, I think I would have learned that faster. Next up is from the house of Mancera, and it's Oud Lemon Mint. I smelled it from a sample that my dad had from like 2018, and I thought I liked it, except the only issue was the sample was empty, so I was just smelling the empty sample. So I bought the bottle, and when it came in, I wore it 4 or 5 times, realized it was nothing even close to what I thought it was, and sold it. Next up is Imaginary Author's Memoirs of a Trespasser. I bought a 1 milliliter sample of this, which is only enough to really give you 1 or 2 full wearings. And I thought I liked it at first, so I bought a bottle and wore it 4 or 5 times again. And I realized that oak and that clay combination was not for me, so I sold that as well. Next up is JPG Le Male Elixir. The first time I smelled it, I was really new into the fragrance game, so that honey and that benzoin combination blew me away. I bought a bottle right on the spot, and then over the course of 6 months, I wore it like 4 times. Realized it was kind of synthetic, it was too strong, it was too sickeningly sweet, so I sold that. Next up is Bad Boy EDT and Cobalt. It's kind of a similar story with the JPG. I like to smell it first, and then I had it for a while, realized it was kind of boring, synthetic, and nothing unique, so I sold them. 3 from the house of Michael Malul, which is a pretty new house. They're all like designer smelling niche fragrances, so Wood plus Cardamom, New Journalist, and Modern Poet, kind of similar things. I liked them at first, and then I had them in my collection and realized I never wore them, so I sold them. And the last one is Tonka Cola by Mancera. I was in a mall in Florida, and I was really curious about it, but I had no open spots on my arm, so I sprayed it on my mom, and I thought it smelled good on her. So when I got home, I ordered it, and when I came in, I sprayed it on me countless times. I realized it does not smell as good on me as it did on my mom, so I sold it. Alrighty, and the last and biggest mistake, the most costly mistake, and probably my stupidest mistake, is blind buying because of a good price. Sit back, grab some food, grab a drink, because I'm going to go down the list of every fragrance that I blind bought because they were on a sale and I thought that it was worth it. And just keep in mind, I sold every single one of these. Alright, number 1, we have Terre de Hermès Eau Givrée. I got it for a decent price. It's this very citrusy, bitter, grapefruit, pulpy fragrance. It's okay, it's just not me, so I sold it. Next up, from the house of Akro, I have 2, Smoke and Awake. Akro Smoke was supposed to be this smoky, ashy fragrance. I'd heard some YouTubers that liked it. I saw it for an amazing price. I picked it up, and it was one of my least favorite fragrances in my entire collection, so I was eventually able to sell that, which I'm happy about. The next was Akro Awake. I was on a coffee run, so I just blind bought it. It was this very metallic smelling coffee to me. It didn't do anything for me. So again, I sold that. The next one from Xerjoff is Zephiro. I got it for $119. So I was like, I don't even care if I don't like it, which is such a bad mindset because that's what I did with so many of them. My mindset was that if I don't like it, I can sell it. But truthfully, it's very hard to make money or even get all of your money back. Like on all or most of these, I probably lost an average of $25 to $35 on each of them just from losing its value after me having opened it. Next up is Mancera Hindu Kush and Mancera Windwood. I got these in a similar time. Manceras are very cheap on the gray market. They're also so difficult to sell on the secondhand market because they're already so cheap for a new bottle. So neither of these did it for me. Hindu Kush was like a worse version of Nasamato's Black Afghano to me. And Windwood was just extremely synthetic and designer smelling, so I just got rid of both of them. Next up, from Jacques, I ordered 5 at a time because I heard they were getting discontinued. I got them all for a cheap price, but it didn't matter because I didn't like any of them. That includes Verla Oud, which was this salty, aquatic fragrance that smelled like Play-Doh to me, and I couldn't stand it. The next one was Tempête de Automne, dirty and earthy fragrance. It was blended fine, it just wasn't me. The next one was L'Oreille du Bois, and it smelled like smoked Gouda cheese to me a little bit. I just didn't like it. The next one was Velour Blasé. Maybe that was the one that smelled like Gouda cheese. I don't know. All of these are bad to me. I didn't like a single one. I'm trying to find the other one. The last one was Rosso Epicurio. And it was this disgusting tuberose fragrance. To me, it smelled like grape medicine. And every time I smelled it, it made me feel sick. So I sold that as well. Moving on the list, we were up to Matière Première. And it's Encens Suave. So much labdanum, so much labdanum, so much labdanum. Like, it was just punching me in the face with labdanum, and that's when I found out I do not like the note of labdanum. Next up is another Mancera. This is Precious Oud. They're cheap on discounters, and some may say they're cheap for a reason. I think there are some fantastic fragrances from the brand, but I owned 16 at one time. Now I'm down to 7, and I want to get rid of 2 more. Next up is from the house of Moscow Milano, and this is Russian Tea. I like the notes. It had decent reviews, so I bought a bottle for a really good price. I literally wore it 2 times and got rid of it. I could not stand it. There was something about it. It was just too green, too sour in a way. I just didn't like it. Next up is the only one that I slightly regret, but not exactly. And it's from the house of Amouage, which, if you know, is my favorite house by far. And it was Opus 5 Wood Symphony. So I truly did enjoy the fragrance. Compared to all the other Amouages that I'd smelled, it was doing nothing for me. I'm not just going to keep a bottle that I know I don't absolutely love, so I ended up selling that. Next up is Mancera Roses Greedy. Similar thing, got it for super cheap. Hated it, wore it 1 time. Gave me the worst headache ever, so I sold it. The next one is Dolce Passione by Pantheon Roma. This was this sweet, sticky, chocolatey, almost Nutella-like fragrance. It smelled good. It was the most dense and cloying, overly sweet fragrance I'd ever smelled though, and it made me feel sick every time, so I sold that one as well. Moving on the list, we're going to Xerjoff Shunkoin. This was just a sweet, like overly sweet powder bomb. It made me feel sick every time I wore it, so I sold it. My dad did like that, so I should have just given it to him, but I ended up selling it. The next was the original Burberry Brit. It's like 30 bucks. I thought might as well have it in my collection. No, it wasn't doing anything for me. The next one from the house of Anomalous Parfums was Blood of River Nile. I was so excited about that. It's a house from Australia and it took like 2 months to get here. I wore it like 4 times and it just smelled like the most synthetic and worst Montale fragrance I had ever smelled. I was trying to gaslight myself into thinking like, oh, that's the story they're going for. But no, it honestly was just not the best fragrance. It was very synthetic. It was not blended well, so I sold that. The next one from the house of Zoologist, which I absolutely love as well, was Dodo, the 2020 version. And honestly, this is the one main outlier on the list. I actually really enjoyed the fragrance. I thought it was very unique, very interesting, as all Zoologists were. But every time I wore it, people, my family, my friends were like, dude, you just smell like straight up BO. So I sold that, and honestly, I should have just sampled it before, but it was discontinued and I got it for like $70. So I really couldn't pass it up, but I ended up selling it and making a profit. So I'm not too disappointed in that one. And then the last one from the house of Mancera again is Black Noir. I heard some people saying it's one of the most underrated vanillas, and I bought it. I wore it about 6 times and it just smelled like Band-Aids. I did not like it. I could not stand it. So luckily I was able to sell that. And we've officially reached the end of the list of my 40, mostly niche, but some designer fragrances that I sold. So there were 2 more things I want to mention. First of all, when you're getting into fragrances, or really when you're getting into any hobby, you don't want to listen to other people. You always want to do stuff yourself. That is exactly how it was for me. I'd heard so many people saying, sample before you buy, sample before you buy, don't buy dupes, blah, blah, all these things. And I was like, no. These people are wrong. I can do what I want. And of course you can do what you want. But for me, and countless other people, we have spent thousands of dollars blind buying fragrances just to realize we don't like them. We're spending thousands of dollars on fragrances that we bought that we thought we liked and ended up not liking them. I am at a point in my collection where almost every single fragrance that I own is the one that I love and that I know I will wear and that I can't live without. And the last thing I want to say is you can do whatever you want with your fragrance journey. But for me personally, I've promised myself a couple things. First of all, I'm never buying a dupe again. The second thing is that I will never buy a fragrance again without sampling it countless times. And the third thing is that I'm never just going to buy a fragrance if it shows up for a really good deal. So for example, I have a list of about 20 fragrances that I know I have tried many times and I know that I love it and I know that I want a bottle of. There's so many blind buys that I got because they came up at a good price that instead of spending my money on that, I could have just gotten a bunch for my wish list. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.